Now that, my friends, was a massive 3 points in a very, very tough game at home. Chelsea win 2-1 versus Newcastle. Let's get into it.
And blue is the colour. Essien! Drogba! Lampard! That could be the
Greetings! Welcome back to Couch Critic with me, Dennis P. for what is your Chelsea match review, but more specifically a tactical synopsis of Chelsea's performance against Newcastle. But before I get into any of that, I need you guys to do me that big favor. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification button to keep up with the latest. We're trying to grow this channel, and the only way we can do that is with your continued support. But without further ado, let's get into the review. Just a massive 3 points, massive vital 3 points, and a game that I felt that Chelsea, had we played this exact same fixture last year, the exact same lineup, I think that we would have lost it. Obviously what we're seeing right now is a side that is maturing. We are seeing that next level in their evolution. That fight is within the club. And, we're able to see out very, very difficult results. And doing so with a tactician in Maresca that has really, really shown that he has the nous to, best some of the better managers in this league. I mean, obviously, Eddie Howe at Newcastle are in a bit of a bother right now. They haven't really been winning a lot of games, but without question, he knows how to set up a defense. He knows how to set up a team to be compact and take away spaces and whatnot. But what we saw today from Maresca was, again, an ability to adjust his tactics to suit the opponent that he's facing, and doing so without sacrificing the principles in his system. Obviously, today we saw Reece James come back and play in the left back position. We saw Malo Gusto in the right half space for the first time. And then we saw Cole Palmer occupy the left half space, the number 10 position on the left. And it produced so many opportunities for Chelsea to exploit. But I did want to start by talking about Chelsea's first half performance, which I thought was very, very exciting. Obviously a helter-skelter first half with both teams taking turns just running at each other. And Chelsea obviously bypassing the midfield duo of Caicedo and Lavia to play directly into our attackers, the likes of obviously Cole Palmer, the likes of Neto, who had a fantastic game, Madueke and whatnot. And Chelsea were just fantastic at identifying the spaces to exploit. By bypassing the midfield, it just gave Chelsea the opportunity to get right into the teeth of the defense and break with numbers. I'm talking about like 4v3, 4v4, just a numerical advantage when you're thinking from an attacking perspective. And Chelsea took advantage of it a couple times in the first half. Obviously, Cole Palmer had that one goal that was chalked off for offside. Margins I don't even know existed, to be honest. And of course, we had that Neto assist to Jackson that produced a fantastic move and a fantastic goal. And yeah, this is what we were seeing in the first half, like a lot of clean breaks, Chelsea running with numbers and finding spaces to exploit at will without playing through the midfield, which is something that I thought that Chelsea would have been able to do. But it wasn't until the second half that Chelsea were able to get control and find their rhythm in the game and, use their passing acumen to really, really take the game by the scruff of the neck. I mean, for large chunks of that second half, Chelsea were just popping it about and finding people in good spaces to occupy. And it was really just a tactical switch from the helter-skelter first half. So yeah, in the second half, the pace has slowed down. Chelsea were able to get more control of the game by fashioning moves of 15 to 20 passes per sequence before taking an attempt. And yeah, that was the difference for me. Chelsea being able to have more control in the game. It was less up and down, giving Newcastle less opportunities on the break. And Chelsea were able to show a bit of resoluteness, show that they are maturing as a squad and able to see out tough matches. Whereas last year, like I said earlier, I don't think that we would have been able to collect all 3 points. About the 75-minute mark on, I thought Newcastle put Chelsea under an immense amount of pressure. And it was only the resolve of the team that was able to see out that result. Okay, so admittedly, I've been biting my tongue the last little while with Chelsea playing some really good football. There are things that I haven't really been crashing on too heavily just because I've been enjoying the way we've been playing. But there are a couple things within the structure of this team that just are not working at all. First of all, We bought Robert Sanchez to this club because of his distribution. His shot stopping is actually quite decent. It's proven to be that as well, but it's the distribution that was, the hallmark of his game. It's just not been good enough at all. Like, I think yesterday he hit about 5 of his 24 long passes, and Chelsea were tactically had decided to go long to play a little bit more direct, and it worked for the most part when he was able to make those 5 passes into our attackers and whatnot. But for the majority of the game, when we decided to go long, it was always an overhit pass, either to the boundary lines, either to the touch line. Like, it was just everything that you don't want to see from your keeper. A lack of control, a lack of composure, and an inability to pick passes to get us on the break. Like, something needs to be addressed. Obviously, I don't think that we need to be making a move to bring Jorgensen into the side, because I haven't seen enough of him to suggest that he's in any way, shape, or form any better. And I'm not the kind of guy that just says, like, let's just put him on just to see if it works better. I'm not about that. This team is still winning. We are still finding ourselves in matches, and very, very tight. He's not cost us any real points at this point in time. Maybe the Liverpool game you can point to for that, but outside of that, we have not really lost any points. He's actually won us 3 points, but we really have to find a way to play with this guy that is more conducive to his skill set. There's just so many opportunities when we're trying to play, a little bit more direct and a little bit more on the break, and he's just turning over the ball. And, I understand that, like Maresca said in the presser, that, we're going to see a lot of this, and it's going to be more down to him than it is going to be on Sanchez. But at some point, you have to adjust your tactics to suit the needs of the team. And, this is one case in point, but the other is Malo Gusto. Malo Gusto in those half spaces as the number, like an auxiliary number 10, like, running and playing, today playing on the right side in the half space there. Just not good enough. Absolutely useless in that position. We've seen it twice now where he played on the left and played in that half space, and this time he just switched onto the right where, and switched positions with Cole Palmer essentially. And in both instances, he's just so poor on the ball. He doesn't provide anything in the final third. It begs the question whether or not Reece James would be better suited in that role. Obviously, we want to wrap him in cotton wool, and we don't want to use him in a position where, he has to exert too much energy to get forward and back. But I just look at Reece James and I see a guy that when you see him in the final third, he just knows what to do. He has the composure, the passing ability, and of course the ball striking ability to really, really hurt teams. And I would just rather see, I know we have to wrap him in cotton wool, and like Reece James is not the kind of guy that, we can have going up and down the pitch, but ideally, my ideal starting back 4 would be Reece James at the right back, occupying the half spaces further up the pitch in the final third. Fofana, Colwell, and Cucurella making up that back 3. Obviously, we don't have the luxury to try that and test that quite yet. We have to wait for Reece James to reach his fitness. He did have a full 90 today, which is great to see. Obviously, you want to see your captain, on the pitch as much as possible and playing at a high level, which we did see again today. Reece James putting in a captain's performance. Reece James playing an integral role in Chelsea seeing out the match and getting 3 points. Clearances off the line, line breaking passes to get our attackers 1v1, switches that got Madueke 1v1. He was just fantastic the entire game. Not really a whole lot of aggressivity from him, but his ball playing ability and his ability to snuff out danger was unbelievable. That is what you want from your captain. Obviously, in the midweek, we did see Maresca go at Reece James a little bit, saying that he's not really the type of captain of men. He's the kind of guy that we have to manufacture leadership from. And maybe that was the spark to get that sort of performance out of Reece James. I mean, he hasn't really played a lot of football the last couple of years, so his maturity as a leader has obviously taken a hit. It's almost a bonus because for many people, myself included, we did not expect to see a lot of Reece James. We almost forgot what it was like to have a player like that in our side. To see him come back and put in the performance that he did, man of the match performance for me. I know there were other candidates that you can speak of, obviously Cole Palmer and of course Neto as well. But the interventions by Reece James in in our defensive final third were just so timely, and obviously his ball playing ability as well in that back 3 was immense. Gave us like the Colwell performance from our left back position, which is not exactly where he likes to play. He was just immense, and for that reason, I gave him man of the match, and long may it continue. He's a guy that we can certainly build great performances off of if he continues to play the way he did yesterday. Now, in the midst of all of that up and down helter-skelter play in the first half, that did have moments in the second half where we did see that as well. We did also see a tactical tweak from Maresca that produced incredible results. Obviously, we did see Gusto, as I mentioned earlier, playing in the half spaces, playing in the number 10 position in the attacking third. And as a result, it left acres of space for the likes of Harvey Barnes to get on and exploit. And obviously we did have Fofana playing on that right side as well, who picked up a nasty looking injury in early parts of the first half, which clearly led to Newcastle wanting to test him a little bit more. And I did see an adjustment from Maresca to compensate for that. And it was obviously the likes of Caicedo dropping into that right back position to help slow down their transition. And it worked fantastically, specifically in that first half where, there were opportunities where Gusto broke forward and was caught out in transition, where, Caicedo had to move out to the right flank position just to slow down their transition a little bit, get a little bit more control of the game, and allow for people to get back in position. And it's one of those things that many of the people that I speak to about football quite often have pointed to as a means to, transition this team from offense to defense a little bit more seamlessly. Again, Lavia is still learning the game. He's still very young, 20 years old, but his natural ability and his awareness and whatnot is starting to really ascend. But again, I just wanted to touch on quickly the tactical switch that we hadn't seen a lot of in subsequent matches with Maresca, with Caicedo going onto the right flank, slowing down the transition to allow for Malo Gusto to get back into position. I think that was one of the key tweaks that led to Chelsea getting all 3 points today. But I do think I'm going to wrap it up there. Chelsea, winners once again. 2-1 versus Newcastle. What a fantastic match. Did not speak about the likes of Neto, who I thought was fantastic on the left. I called for him to play on the left against Liverpool. I thought that his directness and his trickiness was what the game was really requiring. And, obviously we didn't see that, but he came on the second half. Cole Palmer, what more can be said about this guy? I'm just tired of talking about him. It's how many superlatives can you attach to this guy's name? He's just been fantastic, magnificent, wonderful. He's been the talismanic figure that this club has needed for quite some time. And, he's just going from strength to strength. Obviously, he moved over to the left half space today and you didn't even notice. A lot of people didn't even notice that there was a tactical switch to his to where he was deployed today. And he was very, very good once again, exploiting the spaces, getting on the half turn, spins in behind, everything. And just a deft touch. And of course, the balls sprayed out to Neto that led to, the first goal. Everything that he did on the pitch today was just A1. And he's the guy that obviously we're building this team around now, without question. Did see Nkunku come into the game for Jackson late on, and I thought that he had a decent appeal for a penalty. Obviously the on-field official awarded the penalty, only to have it overturned by VAR. And for me, there was contact. Obviously, I don't want to see that sort of thing go down for penalties because it was kind of soft. But for the fact that the on-field referee had already given the penalty, it would have to be a clear and obvious error for VAR to recommend for the referee to go over and look at the monitor. And that just wasn't the case here. It was just not clear and obvious. Obviously, there was contact. He did pull him back a bit. It wasn't enough to bring him down, but clearly the on-field decision from the referee was enough to award the penalty. So I was a little bit put off by that, but I thought that Nkunku gave us some good minutes when he did come on running at the defense. And of course, we're going to see him again start from the beginning against Newcastle in the midweek in the Cup, the Carabao Cup. So, it's good to see him get those minutes and look effective in those as well. But as I said, we do have Newcastle in the Carabao Cup, and then we go into the weekend, we play Manchester United. And I don't know what you guys think, but I don't even think that after that loss to West Ham at the weekend, that I don't think Ten Hag's going to be in the job. We're going to see some sort of like new manager bounce for sure. So who knows? I could be wrong, but I just feel like at this point in time, they're going to have to change the manager. But only time will tell. And until then, keep the blue flag flying high and up the Chelsea. Peace.